وصحبه ومن والاه. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our prayers and rewards us for our staying here. And rewards us for gathering together here to spend, inshallah, some quality time with our Shaykh here, Shaykh Burhan, who is going to share with us some from his experiences. And also he's going to talk about a few things that I think is going to be important for all of us to know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. And join each other in birr, in excellent things, in doing things in an excellent way, and also in righteousness. And do not join each other for sins or for animosity between each other. So Shaykh Burhan, inshallah, is going to help us through his speech, enlighten us more about how to be more productive people for ourselves, for our families, our communities in general, by sharing with us his experience, his life experience, and maybe mentioning to us some beautiful stories through his life. I personally got to know him in Albania in the early 90s. So it is, Sheikh, about
91.
About 91. So it's about 27 years ago, which is a long time, at least for me. For those who are way older than me, that may not seem that much, but alhamdulillah, he is, I don't want to talk too much in front of him, because real men, they don't want to be praised in front of the others, but I can just say one word, that he made history. He made history in Albania, in Kosovo, probably in Macedonia too, and around the places where Albanians live. When Islam, as you know, because throughout the lectures I have updated the community about the struggles of our people, our Muslims in Europe, how hard it was during the time of communism. That was the only country in the world where religion was prohibited by law. Then in 1990, religion came back, and this man right here was among those pioneers, if not the most active person there from outside, who would bring the literature, who would bring the charitable organizations, who would bring the people who had influence in other governments in the Arab world mainly, but not only. And they would get the Albanian people engaged more with Islam and help them improve their situation that they were in at that time. You know, send students to some places to study, and then they would come back and they would help with literature, with books and so on. So many ways, in different ways, different possible ways. For some time he also helped the country. He was the advisor of the president at that time, also in the Muslim countries. So that was also something significant that he did for some time. But overall, I would like, to ask him to share with us a little bit of his history during the time when he was outside of Albania, and why it was important and how it played an important role in his life to get where he is right now. Those early years when you came here in America, the Muslim community in America, for example, how it helped you shape you better, and go to Egypt and start your studies there. And I know that he escaped through, he will probably tell it himself, but I know that he escaped through the lake when he was young, the country when it was under the occupation of the communists. So that's his starting point right there.
Malcolm X, have you heard of him, right? Yeah. Allah yarhamu. He said, beautifully, he said, make it plain. So thank you for the nice introduction. I thought you was talking about somebody else, not about me, but anyway, that's the generosity and the goodness of the Imam. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Allah, I praise Him, I thank for making us of those who are called believers, Muslims and mu'minun, and guiding us and our families and making us part of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. إن هذه أمتكم أمة واحدة وأنا ربكم فاعبدون. Indeed, this ummah of yours is one ummah, and worship me or devote yourselves to me in the other ayah. First of all, I thank you for staying, for I know you could have gone home and relax and get ready for tomorrow. But I thank you, and I thank the Imam who said that I have met him in 1991, May 1991. He was very young. He's young now, of course, but he was
Getting old.
Teenager. He was one of the few youngsters who were curious, amazed of this new movement called the revival of the Muslims of Albania. I remember there were no mosques then in Albania. It was an old mosque that used to be a warehouse at the time of communism called Jamia Kirasit. And we met there. It was So anyway, it's amazing, of course, to be with you. It's inspiring also. The Imam from Albania, the helper or the assistant or the muezzin from Mauritius. When one Imam told me that he's from Mauritius, I recall that in 1982 when I went to Cairo to Al-Azhar, among the students of the Ummah, there were some brothers from Mauritius. So I have met them long time ago. And of course we are here a small group of people from different parts of the world, but all of us following the same path, Islam. I was born and raised in Albania. I was born at the time of communism, who ruled us for almost 50 years, 1944 until 1991. And I saw as a child how the Muslims were doing. This is in 50s and 60s. Then how communism started to slow down the flow, the natural flow of Iman by jailing the best ulamas or ousting them or closing the madaris, Islamic schools of Shkodra, our city, was closed in 1946. So they were trying to cut the roots, thinking that they will destroy the tree of Islam. They thought that that tree was built in the ground of the worldly things that we know, this world of earthly world. They did not know that Islam is not built in the earth. It is built in the hearts of people, fil qulub wal af'ida, in the souls of people. Not simply this building that we have here as a masjid. It is built in your hearts before it became into being as a masjid. For your intention, your niyyah, and your efforts and your vision brought about this place. And today you are here because of that vision. So they did all they could to destroy, this is what they thought and believed, Islam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and you all, mashallah, well-rounded people, Allahu nur samawati wal ard. Allah is the light of heavens and earth. And we as believers, as Muslims, we ought to reflect the light. Who is going to reflect the light of Islam? We as Muslims. ought to reflect the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by being here tonight, we help ourselves to polish the lamp. You see these lamps here? They don't produce light, but they reflect the light. They don't generate light, but they reflect the light. And the light came from somewhere else. And if you switch that off, or if they get burned, you have to change them. So Islam is the light that never can be extinguished. It's always there. It may be extinguished in one person's heart, lo samahullah, but it always is there. And if somebody knows how to turn on that light, that person can see the light again. Why? Because it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not from the insan or from the human being. So in 1966, 67, they issued an order proclaiming Albania the first atheist country. يعني بلد أول بلد ملحد في الدنيا. Atheist country, no God. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. So they started destroying the mosques, masajids, completely, and the churches, of course. Collected the Quran and burned them, destroyed them, and along with the Bible. Jailed the ulamas that were active. Prevented us, of course, from 1938 until 1991. No Haji went from Albania to Hajj. 1938 until 1991. Hajj is very important because Hajj is the connection of Ummah. Hajj are the veins of Ummah that connect in the heart. It's called Mecca al-Mukarramah. That's all we are. Min kullu fajjin amiq. This place is a fajj min fajij Allah, fajij al-dunya. There's a spot that you hear in this phoenix. You are part of that Allah mentioned in the Quran. Min kullu fajjin amiq. So they thought they destroyed Islam. They left only few masajids, and they were used as museums and used as storages. Also the churches were destroyed and were used for different purposes. To show to people that your religion, your faith, it's gone, it's nothing. We are, astaghfirullah, like the Pharaoh used to say, I am the God, the highest God. Ana rabbukum al-ala. Astaghfirullah. So they were Pharaohs of 20th century. Every century has Pharaohs. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps telling them, your time is short. You cannot do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already assigned, decreed to be done. So I was at age 10, maybe I mentioned here, I was here last time. Then the time was, was not prohibited practice of religions yet, but of course slowing down. I was fasting, was 10 years old, 1959, long before you were born, or maybe your fathers. Perhaps I'm the oldest one here. So the teacher knew I was fasting, and he asked me to bring him water. I brought a glass of water, and he said, drink it. I refused, and he hit me. Then the glass fell, of course, and he hit me, and my nose started bleeding. So he took me to the principal, who was not a Muslim, was an Orthodox, communist by conviction. And then he asked him, this teacher was Muslim by name. May Allah forgive him. Amen. So he asked him, why did you hit the boy? He said, he's fasting. I said, it's okay, he's imitating the parents. Taqleed, yani. Shay taqleed, yeah. He doesn't know what he's doing. They get up for suhoor. Like your children, those who have small children, they like to, to share the suhoor with you. This is how we used to do, right? Like party night. Be with them, eat something, nice thing at early morning. And this is how we learn how to fast. So they said, he's just imitating the parents. He said, yeah, but we have orders. He said, I know the orders, but not like this. We have to destroy this slowly, gradually. You cannot destroy it just like this. This takes time to undo what has been done. So he said, you lost. And this boy, he won. 10 years old, I wasn't thinking that deeply, losing and gaining. But I was proud, of course, because I took a stand. I said no to this. I felt good as a child because the parents taught me to have dignity. Islam wants us to be dignified people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us rijalun. Rijalun in the Quran means both genders. وَمِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا وَعَدَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ.
مش ذكور يعني.
لا ذكور لا الذكور كل واحد منا, every one of us as men we're born males, but inshallah all of us become rijal, because somebody may be male for the rest of his life, just a male, but no rajula, no shahama, no dignity. So I felt good, and he said, this boy from now on will not forget this. Until now it was imitation. Now it's going to be implementation. And later on as I grew older, I started thinking, I never forgot this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be those that take stand for the sake of Allah, like you're doing here. So I lived in that country. 1967, masajids were destroyed. Nothing, we could not pray openly. We fasted Ramadan secretly. The books were all destroyed. So we became a barren land. Ardan Bur. No living, nothing. No faith. Of course, faith was in hearts of people. So to make the long story short, in 1976, by the grace of Allah, I left Albania I swam across the lake, Skodra, or lake, and went to former Yugoslavia.
Which is a huge lake, by the way.
It's a huge lake, but the place where yes, it is.
Balkans.
In Balkans, for sure. So I reached the other side. I was held by some Albanian families who lived in the other side. Then I was imprisoned in Yugoslavia for a month. And I saw in my life that the door of Allah, the hand of Allah, was always with me. It was not because I was smart, or because I was intelligent, or I was lucky, we say. No. That is hikmah rabbaniyah, heavenly wisdom that held me, His hand, and saved me. I could have been caught while escaping. I could have been shot, dead. I could have been drowned in the lake. I could have been eaten by some snake or bitten by snake, or I could have been returned back to Albania from Yugoslavia. Then I went from there to Italy. So we here, like you here, don't you ever think that you came to Arizona because you were lucky or smart. This is the will of Allah to be here, and to be members of this masjid, and to be min musallin al-masjid, and to be those who contribute for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't you ever dedicate these things to yourself. It is Allah's GPS that brought you here, not your GPS. I am here because of goodness that Allah placed in the heart of this young man, because he is the cause for my being here. This is what we should think. We should have a vision. We should have a very wide scope in understanding the world. A young man from Hyderabad, or from Macedonia there, or from the Arab world, you came here not haphazardly. Allah's wisdom is that place us in different places. So I left. I was in Yugoslavia, then in Italy as a refugee camp. I was a refugee that you see me here. I was using the outfit from the Red Cross in Rome. I had no money, I had nothing. This is why I like to help refugees, and I'm sure you like to help refugees. You don't know what a refugee is. Living in no man's land, living in a place that you don't know what will happen to you next morning, next second, waiting always for somebody to bring you something, or somebody to smile at you. So always in need, always in want, and insecure. But Allah's hand was there. And I was in the camp. We were few Muslims in that camp. Majority were non-Muslims from the communist countries, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Poland. We were only a handful of Muslims. From Albania, 3 or 4, Bulgaria, 2. And I wanted to make sure that we were eating halal food. Those days, nobody knew halal and haram in the West. It was too early. So not many Muslims were aware of a lot of things in those days, of course. So I asked them to give me food that doesn't contain pork. And the person who was in charge, a lady, she happily helped us. And she assigned for us a special food along with the children and elders. Nobody forced her to do this. Don't you ever think that goodness is only placed in our hearts? Goodness comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Has no nationality. Goodness has no qawmiyah. Has no nationality. Goodness can be found in every person's heart. And you see it here. You live in Arizona and Phoenix, at work with your colleagues, at the other places. You see a lot of goodness in people. So we as Muslims, we ought to understand this. Of course, Islam has come to enhance goodness, to give goodness address. This is why Allah says, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Those who don't believe, they know there is goodness, and they know that goodness is only in this world. But we as Muslims, we believe in this world and hereafter. This is why the dua that Allah teaches us, oh Allah, give us good things in this world and good things in hereafter. So we want both ways. For Rasulullah says, الدنيا مزرعة الآخرة. The dunya is the plantation of hereafter. So we have to toil. So I came here in this country, 1977. Muslims were not like this those days. There were not many masajids. Allah, maybe Phoenix did not have masjid then. I don't know, maybe some Muslims
That's
early.
the time when it started, actually.
1976.
Yeah.
Handful of Muslims. Only the big cities, old cities, New York, Detroit, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago. But the other cities that we know now, Atlanta, Miami, all these, Houston, Texas, did not have many Muslims then. And Muslims were not very practicing, were scattered all over. But subhanAllah, things changed. And today, we have, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, we have our identity as Muslims. Everybody knows about us. Anywhere you go in America, in any state, you will find at least Musalla. Dakota, South and North. Montana. I've been very blessed by Allah that I have seen most of the USA. Anywhere you go, Hawaii, Alaska, you find Muslims there. Why? Because we ought to reflect the light of Allah wherever we are. Cannot be done alone, as the Imam mentioned earlier, the ayah, وَتَعَوْنَ الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى, and coordinate and cooperate in goodness and piety, and never enmity and evil things. Your niyyah, your intention, your harmonizing your actions brought about this masjid. Did not come just like this. Somebody had the vision, and you brought about this work, and this is why I'm here tonight. I went to Hawaii in 1999, Honolulu, and a handful of Muslims there. They had a masjid, a villa, big house. Masjid, musalla, classes, and a place where they had their own entertainment, for Eid, a handful of Muslims. So I was told that that place was a gift, sadaqah jariyah, from a Muslim, and nobody knows where is he from or where he did come from. A Muslim from a country, I don't know where, went to Hawaii for pleasure. Hawaii, diving, nice weather, beautiful. So he went and looked around and found some Muslims who were having a small musalla, very small musalla. So he asked them, "That's all you have?" He said, "Yes." So he, of course, he found that place through the yellow pages. You remember yellow pages? You came late here, maybe, Allah. There was yellow pages. They still do that?
They still do that here.
You know, the yellow pages, you'll find out. So he found out this musalla there somewhere in Honolulu. So he found them and went and met them. He said, all we have. So what did he do? SubhanAllah, he went there for pleasure, but he had the need of doing good somehow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala oriented him, activated the GPS of Iman in Honolulu to do something that he didn't go there for that. To buy that home or villa or that nice, beautiful, expensive home and to leave it as sadaqah jariyah for his brothers and sisters in Islam in Hawaii. So he bought the place, went to real estate, and went and did it and said the deed of it and said he left it there. He said, this place gonna be for the Muslims of this city, and I don't want my name to be revealed. I don't want my name to be revealed. Where? In Hawaii. Where? Honolulu.
And right now there are Muslims
Of
in
course.
that mosque over there.
Of course.
Well, there is more than one, I'm
More
assuming,
than this.
right?
So you are a product of this. So do your job, do your homework, but always work together.
Sheikh, earlier you mentioned something. We were in the office, we're having a conversation, and he said something very unique. He said, Muslims here in America, he said, they are very lucky, you said? To
Very
be
blessed,
here.
very blessed,
Very blessed to be here. Can you share with us a little bit why Muslims in America are blessed, and what makes them different from Muslims? I mean, we're all one nation, one ummah. إن هذه أمتكم أمة واحدة. This is your nation. It is one nation. But yet, why the Muslims living here in America, they would be blessed?
There's so many reasons, of course, so many reasons. First of all, this is a new country of everybody, in spite of some people trying to make it especially for a certain group. It was built as such. All of us have come from different. I asked one of the Muslims early. He's from here. He's not like us from the old countries. I asked him, where are you from? He said, I'm from here. I said, I know you're from here, but what's your ethnic background? He said, French, Canadian. French and Indian.
That was Brother Hamza.
So we are all here, so the elements. So anyway, so America, we as Muslims here have found it's a beautiful environment for us. We are a new community as Muslims, comparing with the other communities, the Polish, the Italian, the Jewish, you name German, and others who came long before us, who built America. We found America already. We came here, the first Muslims who came to America were the Albanians in 19th century, at the time of Ottoman Empire. And the first Musalla was in Portland, Maine, owned by the Muslims of Albania.
There were also slaves who came from
yeah,
Africa,
but they got lost because they were forced to change their religion. So we are here now. Things have changed, especially after in 1960s and later on. Things changed, of course, much better for all of us, not just for Muslims, for the black, the American, the Africans, and all this. Also, things get much, much better in 60s. Before that, 60s, Muslims came here. But the Muslims were simple Muslims. What I mean simple Muslims were not educated, most of them. Were immigrants who came here seeking jobs, work, to enhance their life. Mostly from Albania, from Bosnia, some from different parts of the world. Then from Sham after the collapse of Ottoman Empire. Then when the partition of Sham, Lebanon and Syria and all these, so started coming here. But they were not educated, most of them, of course. So in late 60s, 70s, a different group of people came in. People like young, educated, from Egypt, from Syria, from India, from Pakistan, from South Africa, from North Africa, came here, most of them as students, graduates, already graduated there, came here for better work because the situation there wasn't that good. So they left the country, but came here with two elements. First of all, Iman, and secondly, they were educated. Whereas people in Europe, Muslims of Europe, are mostly working class, from North Africa, from Africa. Of course, there are a lot of educated people there, but mostly are working class. So, but here we, like you, are educated people. So this helps to enhance life quickly and easily and much better. This is why you have now all these, mashallah, with the ISNA, ICNA, these big organizations that they get together twice a year, and you can see there thousands of Muslims get together in these conferences. And I think this year going to be in Houston at the end of August, Labor Day. So it's a big difference, okay? The environment is better now. You can wear, the sisters can wear niqab, can wear whatever. In Europe, they are prohibited to wear.
In some places.
Yes, a lot of Belgium, Denmark, Holland, France, you name it. Only England has still that. So what I'm trying to say here, we are much better because the quality of, if I may say, because educated people and people that, and also people who have first, as I said, the two elements, al-iman and also the education, that they work hand in hand with each other. This is why you have now, look at you, for example, here. In 1970s, it was very difficult to find Muslims to pray together. There were not many. Where I remember when I first came, I met the Arabs in Michigan, thinking that all Arabs were good Muslims. This is what I thought. And I found out something else. They were, with their ideas, socialists, Nasserists, Ba'athists, you name it. Muslims, but and I wanted to learn Arabic from the very beginning, and I would go to them and said, Ya Burhan, انسى Arabic اللغة القديمة and learn English. Forget Arabic, learn English. Say Assalamu alaikum, khalas. This is an old saying. This happened. Not all of them, but many, many of them. I was disappointed. Subhanallah, now I meet them, they are my age, of course. Now they have become multazimeen, they are hujjaj, they have changed. Why? Because the environment itself. So things are getting better here, and I'm sure, look at Phoenix, how many masjids you got here?
34.
In 1970s, I'm sure there were, I don't know if there was a masjid
79
here.
started the first
Yeah,
one.
but 77 there was no masjid here.
They were just gathering in parks.
Parks.
Yeah.
Or musalla somewhere, or a whole house of somebody. I know this, West Virginia, same here. 70 states, they were gathered in one home and will pray Salat al-Jum'ah or Taraweeh during Shahr Ramadan. So look at this. Why? Because people who came here in late 60s and 70s came people that had vision, people that wanted to make difference, to make history. What you're doing here, you're making history. You believe it or not, you're making history in this very city of yours. So I really urge you to take these things wisely and never, never pause, but work for Allah's cause. Try to create an environment that you and your children will find out and and your wives and daughters, because you have to have your own community without being separated or isolated from the other community. We as Muslims we should not isolate ourselves. Muslims, whether kafir, kuffar, no. We are here to reflect the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't keep Islam in the masjid. Don't keep Islam at home. Islam everywhere you are, at work, working place, shopping center, wherever you go. Try to reflect your religion, your faith.
It's meant to be reflected everywhere.
Everywhere.
I use an example, Shaykh, because sometimes people, when they come here, whether they come from our countries like Albania or other places in Europe or even in the Arab countries or subcontinent, often they have this idea that we're just here to work, we're here to make money, and then we're not here to become religious people. We're not here to develop communities or to become shuyukhs or to become students of Islamic knowledge and so on. However, the Quran tells us about the story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. He was told to go to, he said to his family that I'm going to get some fire. لَعَلِّي آتِيكُمْ بِقَبَسٍ أَوْ أَجِدُ عَلَى النَّارِ هُدًى. So I perhaps will get some fire, guide my family during the night, or maybe, get some heat. But then when he went there for something that was related to the worldly matters, all of a sudden Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ فَاخْلَعْنَ عَلَيْكَ إِنَّكَ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوًى. So even though he went for something that was for materialistic gain, but he found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there. So how do you see, based on these blessings that Muslims they do have in our communities here in America, and there is a difference between Muslims living in other continents, I still feel that there is a need of unity more. They have developed as communities, they have reached certain places, but overall I see that there is a lot of work that is needed to combine these communities and to work as one community. There is ICNA, there is ISNA, there are some national organizations who are probably trying to do that, but still I think there is a lot of gap. How do you see that, and how do you see our communities, inshallah, in the future? The children.
See, my dear Imam, there's a hadith that says, Sayyidina Musa said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the world, not the world that we know, north and south and east and west, not just geography sort of, but the world of da'wah, of iman, so that Islam would spread everywhere. That's the vision that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam had, given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know that he did not live to see the futuhat, so called in Arabic, the opening of places, Sham and Egypt and then Khorasan and Bain al-Rafidain and Iraq or Iran. But he sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew that Islam will spread everywhere. And we here are the evidence of it. Now for us, let us be realistic. For those who have come from old countries, remember we come with two elements again. First of all, it's qawmiyya, here nationality. And I'm Albanian. Some people say I'm first Albanian, then some say. Or I'm first Gujarati, then, or Hyderabadi, or Shami, or whatever. So this is the concept that some people have. In order to get rid of this, you have to have strong iman. Not to ignore your qawmiyya, your nationality. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us from a single male and female and made us شَوْوَ قَبَائِلِ تَعْرِفُوا. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the best of you is the one who has the taqwa. So we have come here with this. It is not easy for us to change within a snapping finger. It takes time to realize this. The brother, the Hafiz from Mauritius, still he is Mauritian. In his heart there is Mauritius. It's still there. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he left Mecca, when he was forced Hijrah, you know the story, right? When as he was leaving Mecca, he went to Medina, turned and said, Wallahi, I know you are the most beloved place.
Right. And I would not have left you.
Left you
unless my
unless
people
my
drove me
forced me to learn
Yeah.
that. So in the hearts of, خاتم الأنبياء والرسل وهو نبيكم عربي. He was proud of being Arabi from Quraysh. We should not ignore that, but that should not overcome or eclipse the main thing, which is Islam. Because when we die, they will not be asking us, what is your convenience? When the angel will come and ask us the night of, when we are in the qabr, well, what's your deen? Who is your God? And all. So, but these things will take time to. Because you have to adapt. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Muslims, has given us the adapter. When you have a device, a cell phone or something, then if you don't have the adapter, if you go to Europe with a cell phone from your iPhone, you have to have adapter because that device will get burned.
Yeah.
So what do? You have that adapter in order to save it. Because if you lose it, then you don't know, no connection. Nothing. So Allah has given us this device. A true Muslim works on this. To have this adapter in a very, very good shape so he can adapt anywhere you go. A true Muslim should not find himself, herself, a stranger anywhere he or she goes. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, when they scatter around the world, they didn't go there as Arabs and Arabi, no. Like some poets from the Arab world, and Arabiyun وكذا Arabiyun أنت في البطيخة. They say in their word, it's a watermelon. The Egyptians use it. And what? You are insan you are Muslim, ya akhi. So they went. You remember the first hijrah took place where? In Medina? No. Habasha, Ethiopia. When Ja'far, the first cousin of Prophet Muhammad led them, they went there, and they didn't go there as Arabs. They went there as Muslims. Handful of them.
Refugees.
New countries. Refugee. No money, no friends, nothing. But they had strong iman. Their vision was, or their aim was, to work for Allah's cause. Lillahi Rabbil Alameen. To take a stand for Allah's cause. So subhanallah, Allah subhanahu held them. There were those who didn't like them. But the king himself, Najashi, heard of them. Heard of them. And when Amr bin As, who was not a Muslim then, a very, very great diplomat and politician, very shrewd politician, he went there with a delegation from Mecca to bring those Muslims back. And he met the king. And he even tried to bribe people around the king, so to give them hadayah, gifts, so they could help him to bring those Muslims back. And then the story, Najashi brought both of them, the Muslims, and they said, okay, what's your story? But Amr bin As said, these are people, they are troublemakers, they are dividing our families, they are destroying our families. We used to be very united, now we are not. They are teaching another religion. They're talking about this. Najashi asked Ja'far al-Tayyar, because even when he fought during the war, he lost both arms, and he even used his mouth to hold the sword. So he said, what about you? He said, no, we did not cause any trouble. We are following a religion that teaches us unity, not teaches us the otherwise. Viciousness, killing people. We are people that are killing our daughters when they are born, the female children, babies, they were killed, buried alive. We are people that do this and no morals. So he said, now God has sent us a messenger, a prophet, and the book, the Quran, that teaches us that. Then Amr bin As, being shrewd man, he said, yes, but they have something else against you. He said, what? They don't believe in Jesus Christ in Europe. And then he was asked, do we have anything that you can read to me? He read from Surah Maryam. So you as Muslims, you have to know your deen. You cannot just say, I'm a Muslim, and sit there. If somebody asks you, what is your deen? Oh, we pray, we fast, we go to Hajj. What else? That's it. No. You have to. This is why you young people, you're educated people. You have to read. You have to know about history. You have to know about geography, psychology, politics. You have to know all of these things in order to become a true Muslim. You are an envoy. Every one of you here is an ambassador of Islam in this world. You believe it or not, you are an ambassador, envoy of Islam, Safir of Islam in this world. But you cannot be Safir, ambassador, true one, unless you know your duty. You know your job. Cannot be done alone. You have Imam, you have Hafiz, you have people here. And I urge you that what you do, mashallah, is a saying in Arabic that says, لا تأخذ العلم من صحفي ولا القرآن من مصحفي. Don't you ever take knowledge from a bookish person who read a page here, a page there, and you didn't read nothing, and you think that he is reading, mashallah, because you have no knowledge. He said, you know what? Hyderabad. I'm talking about Hyderabad because I know some brothers. I met them last time here. Hyderabad was very important part of Indo-Pakistan, of the subcontinent. The main city where knowledge flourished. But there was a massacre of Hyderabad. When the partition happened, they slaughtered people like it happened now in different parts of the world. Our brothers and sisters, Rohingyas and others, the partition of that. So they've called a book called The Fall of Hyderabad. Somebody say, well, how could this Albanian knows about Hyderabad? Maybe he's a spy. When I meet people from Yemen, and I said, where are you from Yemen? From where? From Ib or Taz?
How does he know?
How does he know this? Yeah, I have to know because you are my brother. I'm from Iraq. I asked from Iraq. Where are you from? Mosul? ولا أنت من يعني جنوب ولا الشرق ولا How does he know about this? Or Sham, if I ask, where are you from? Syria? Where are you from? Idlib. Idlib. How do you know this Idlib? This is fakr, poverty of a Muslim. A Muslim should know of Allah. I never forget. I'm sorry, I'm keeping it too long. I've never forget a meeting with an Egyptian old man when I first went to Cairo. I entered the city, the student city, the hostel, both. And I went there, all 2,000 some students from different parts of the world. I was from Albania. I'm from here, but Albania. Some Albanians from Kosovo, Macedonia. Mostly were from Africa and subcontinent, other areas. So the next morning I got up, and an old man who was taking care of the building, he called it janitor. We should not use the word, janitor. Janitor is the word comes from janissaries. The British people, they use the words, the janissaries were the army of Sultan.
Yeah.
So in order to belittle their role, they called them janitor. Who is he? A servant. He's the one who serves me. Janitor.
They're very powerful in the Ottoman
Yeah,
army.
very
They were
powerful. The best part of the army. So they called them.
Guard, right?
The guard, right? They called it janissaries. They called him janitor. Who is? What does he do? He cleans. He does it. So he saw me and looked at me. He was very old man. Old. I'm sure he was illiterate man. Ummiyun, tamam. He looked at me. He said, "Anta min fin ya khawaga?" In Egypt, khawaga means foreigner, not in bad way, but ajami. I looked at him. I said, I knew his name. His name was Abdul Aziz. I never forgot the line. I said, how come he knows about Albania? I know Albania. Tell him I'm from Albania. What does he know Albania? Tell him I'm from America. I used to tell people I'm from Albania. Even today, when people ask me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Albania. Which is, I should say I am from here, but still. So I said, Yalla, I'm in Albania, ya Ammi, my uncle. He said, Albania, Bita Ahmed Zogu. Ahmed Zogu was Albanian king who was ousted by Mussolini in 1939 and lived in Egypt for some years, and he was there. But that time was no TV yet, only newspaper. Radio was not that. Not everybody had a radio. No. So I said, Ya Ammi, my uncle, how do you know Albania? If I ask you, I'm sure you know where is Albania because the Imam is from Albania. If you don't know it, that's no good. I'm just joking. So, wallahi, a lot of people here in the Arab world, students, graduates, did not know where Albania was at that time. Many of them. That old man knew about it. Why? I asked him, how do you know? He said, when I was young, very young, child like you're doing here, the Imams used to talk about different parts of the Muslim world. One Jummah talk about India, Jummah talk about Caucasian, Shishan, Dagestan. One time about Bosnia, about Albania. One time about Philippines. So the Imam has a great role. But today things have changed. You Google their Albania and you will see the whole thing. So I'm trying to say the whole thing is this. You as Muslims here, don't hesitate to take a stand. Nobody's telling you to hold a flag in one of the squares of Phoenix. No. Practice Islam at your best. Reflect Deen at your best. Be together. Yad Allahumma Jama'ah. Allah's hand is with the majority, with Jama'at. Be together. Don't hesitate to come here. This is your home. This is where you find the tranquility, peaceful. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam to the place that Quran describes as no living thing there. In Mecca that today is of course flourishing. Why? And when Sayyidina Ibrahim was taught saying what? Inni askantu min dhurriyati. If you listen to the word iskantu, for those who know Arabic, iskantu comes from sakina, from peaceful. A Muslim is peaceful anywhere he or she is, should find himself or herself at peace. سواء كنت you are in Phoenix or you're in Tucson or Flagstaff, what is it? Flagstaff, whatever, or you are in Albuquerque of that, or you are in Boise in Dakotas, or you are in Kansas City, wherever you are a Muslim. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. Say you're Muslim or Muslimah. Did say you're Albanian or Arabic or Hindi. Say you're Muslim or Muslimah. My supplication, my namaz, my prayers, my salat, my nusuk, my sacrifice. What you're doing now is sacrifice. You stayed here. You could have gone home, but you stayed here. You will be rewarded with this. And my living, my dying is lillahi rabbil alameen. La sharika lahu bidhalika umirna awwal. So he found peace. Hajar wa Ismail is a young small boy. In that place there was no living thing, no insan was there. They found peace and tranquility. Why? Their iman, Ibrahimi, iman, a true Muslim. So we ought to have this. If we don't have this, believe me, we will be shaking all over. We will not be stable. But in order to be solid, to be stable, we have to understand our deen well. What is our deen? Who is this Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Even today, they did the last, studies in Britain. Still, Muhammad is the most common name in Britain.
MashaAllah.
The most common now. Recently, they made research. The most common name in Britain is Muhammad. But we need Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad, that is the one who reflects Islam. Muhammadi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to be wala Muhammadi, wala Ramadani, wala Hajji, but to be min Rabbaniyin. Kunu Rabbaniyin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anyway,
Allah yabarak fik, ya inshallah, tomorrow we're going to have the Shaykh deliver the Friday khutbah. He will be with us here and invite others as well to join inshallah for the khutbah. If you have any questions, we thank him from the bottom of our hearts for his beautiful words and for his wisdom that he shared with all of us. I know that it's late. Those who have any questions, they're more than welcome to ask, inshallah. As you can see, Shaykh, mashallah, is very diverse, very, traveled. قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. I think he followed the verse of the Quran. say travel on earth. So he did
Alhamdulillah.
that. He did that a lot.
So are you. You are also well-rounded people. You travel a lot. I'm sure you travel a lot. Visit your old countries. As you're working in different jobs, so you're doing pretty good. From Syria, from Sham. Allah barak fi Shamina wa Yemenina. And I kindly urge you, if I can, end at this, I really urge you to make dua for our brothers and sisters, because you are part of them. Don't you ever think, "Man yahtam bi amr al-muslimin, falaysa minhum." Those who don't care about the affairs of Muslims, didn't say of the Muslims in Arizona or Muslims everywhere. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help our brothers and sisters in Syria, in Palestine, in Yemen, Rohingyas, in Iraq, everywhere they are. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them peace. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them victory the way He knows subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen our ranks here and make us of those who are always at the disposal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make us of those who try to learn from the true alim and the true hafiz. So you have these things that don't take for granted. The presence of the Shaykh is a blessing. I'm not saying it because of him. Because, goodness, it's like a breeze, naseem in Arabic. It comes when it's very hot. Some early morning when you get up, Fajr time it's very important. Fajr has a very important role. It is the studies, psychology studies stay here. Every human being should witness the sunrise at least twice a year. It's very important for psychologically. We as Muslims, if we pray Fajr, we can witness it every day. If we pray, of course, Salat al-Fajr. So we are those. So please, be mindful of these things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them all. And be with them in your du'as. Don't take for granted. Wallahi, ana alhamdulillah bi khair. The Syrians were okay even before the war started. And the Syrians were those who helped more than anybody else in every cause. Bosnian war, Kosovo war, Palestinian cause, Somali cause, you name it. They were always mubaddireen, pioneers of goodness. I know them, I met them. Men and women. Today are desperate need. So make dua for them, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you very much.
Shaykh, inshallah, here, he is also coming with an intention of gathering the qurbanis or the udhiyah for a charitable organization called Mercy Care.
Mercy USA.
Mercy USA. So tomorrow we're going to make that announcement. We're going to talk about that as well. So if you're thinking of sending your qurbanis, your udhiyah outside of the country, this would be a good opportunity for you to direct them in the right place. I believe you do have the flyers.
I have the flyers. The countries that they are doing it.
Where they send
many countries, India and Pakistan, and of course Rohingyas, refugees, Syrian and Palestinian refugees.
You can fill it up there. I'm assuming that there is also the prices there.
But think about a big dua first of all. Be with them. Be with them in your du'as, and Allah will be with us, inshallah. Thank you very much. And forgive me, you will say, that Burhan, yes, that they will never stop talking. So
Astaghfirullah. Thank you.
Come on.